Hello friends, and welcome to WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado and my focus on WSIAT edition. This is the second episode in that new segment of the channel. I'm going to be posting once a week on Wednesdays about this new segment. If you're new to the channel or you're watching this for the first time, I recommend that you go back and watch my video. I think it was a couple of episodes ago where I launched this new segment. And there I talk a little bit about why I've decided to do this and more importantly, what I want to cover in this new Focus on WSIAT edition. So for this new episode, I'm going to talk about, I've kind of got the title for this, and the title is, Can the WSIAT, Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal, tame the WSIB Beast? It's a mouthful, and I'll tell you, in 30 years of dealing with the WSIB, both as an injured worker and also on a professional level, having built the largest paralegal firm in Ontario, I've seen a lot of things happen over the last 30 years, and I've seen a lot of political parties come and go. Every one of our four major political parties, from NDP to Liberals, Conservative, they have, or three I should say, they have all had their hand, they've all had their fingers in the pot, so to speak. And I haven't seen any improvements. I haven't seen anything really that has been done to benefit injured workers, or employers for that matter. It just seems like, every time there's a new political party that is in down at Queen's Park, they come out with all of these grandiose ideas. And of course, they've made tons of promises to their constituents in order to get elected. And so then they finally get into office, and it seems like those things, those promises start to fade very quickly from their memories. And whatever they try to do to tame this beast only feeds it more. I saw that with the last major two legislative changes, which was the implementation of Bill 162, which was done in January of 1990, and then the implementation of Bill 99, which was done in January of 1998. And I look at that, and if anything, the law hasn't served injured workers well. I would say that a lot of the sections of those, the Workers' Compensation Act and the later amended Workplace Safety and Insurance Act, contains a lot of sections that are actually, or if applied properly, would be beneficial to the worker. But then the WSIB creates these policies which they apply only whenever they want to. And that only serves to continue to limit or deny injured workers and their families legitimate claims for benefits, both in healthcare and in loss of earnings. So I'm going to talk about a report that was put together by the Ontario Network of Injured Workers Groups and the Ontario Federation of Labour, two very good, solid organizations that I believe have worked tirelessly to bring to the surface and to the discussion issues that are brought about, for injured workers. And they put together this report, and they coin it, or the title of the report is Prescription Overruled. A report on how Ontario's workplace safety and insurance systematically ignores the advice of medical professionals. And this report came about as a result of healthcare professionals becoming extremely concerned over a period of time leading up to November of 2005, when this report was released and introduced at Queen's Park. And the concerns that they were having was that the WSIB was preventing their patients from obtaining adequate support and services for their patients. And they had seen an alarming increase over the previous 5 years of how that was becoming a systematic problem, and or a systemic problem. I always get those two mixed up. And how it was having a significant detrimental effect on their patients. Over the next 4 episodes, I'm going to talk about this report. And in the last episode, I want to analyze what's happened. Has there been any improvement? And a lot of you may be aware of this because this report was introduced or released in November of 2015. So we're coming up on 8 years. So it's been there for a while. You may have heard about it, or you may have heard certain portions, or you may have heard or read something in the newspaper. But I really want to get into it to be able to highlight what this group has done in terms of bringing these issues to the forefront, so that you're aware of it, and hopefully we can collectively affect some positive change in this province for injured workers, because it's a long time coming, and I don't think we can rely on the WSIB and politicians alone to make this happen. The report focuses on 4 major areas of concern that, for those of you who have known me over the years and have listened to me on this channel, or were clients of my paralegal firm, you know that these are some of the issues that I've always been passionate about, and I've always felt that they are discriminatory and extremely detrimental to injured workers, and how the WSIB has adjudicated or implemented the law and their policies in supporting injured workers. So the 4 major areas are the WSIB ignoring information from doctors in terms of readiness to return to work. So in other words, forcing injured workers back to work sooner or much faster than their doctors are recommending. And that basically puts every injured worker who is in that position at risk of either re-injury or having their condition become worse. The other one is insufficient treatment, which basically touches upon that first one. A lot of times doctors, and I saw this happen thousands of times with my paralegal firm, cases that were being handled either by myself or one of my paralegals, where a client's doctor was recommending additional treatment, and the WSIB's saying, no, you don't need that. It's either maintenance treatment, which is one of their favorite terms, or some other bullshit excuse. The other one is blaming pre-existing conditions for ongoing illness. And there's been a lot of talk about that over the past 3 or 4 years. In fact, there was a court case that dealt with that I spoke of in one of my previous videos. But yes, pretty much most of us have some sort of a pre-existing condition. As you get older, you have aches and pains, and you have some degenerative disc disease in your back and your nerves, and all, or not nerves, but your back, and things of that nature. And it could be something that you never complained about, but it could be exacerbated, or it could actually come to the surface when you have an injury and become symptomatic. And the WSIB takes that very frequently and says, oh no, you can't go back to work because it's your pre-existing condition. It has nothing to do with the effects of your injury, which we all know is asinine, and it's totally bullshit. But that's what happens. They look into their crystal ball or listen to one of the fat cats upstairs who's trying to push some kind of an agenda. And they just ignore that. They ignore that, or they're listening to one of their doctors who probably has never assessed a patient or has worked with patients on a one-on-one to provide some bullshit explanation to overrule a doctor that's actually treating the person. So that's where the issue of pre-existing condition in WSIB, using that frequently to explain away legitimate concerns about the effects of a legitimate condition, a compensable condition from an injury or illness that took place at work. And then the fourth one is using independent medical reviews, which proclaim patients to be healed despite the evidence of treating practitioners. And these medical reviews are these doctors that they have that they'll send them a file and I'll go through this and tell us what we want to hear. Anyway, I'm just putting it my own spin on it, but that's basically what it is. Because if the doctor is saying anything remotely close to what the patient's doctors are saying, I can tell you, they're just going to send it back and say, no, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear something else. It's just part of the bullshit games that they play. And they do that all the time. Don't kid yourself. They do. And I know that they do. And they know that I know that they do. That's why they hate me so much. Because I tell it like it is. And I don't like putting up with bullshit dressed up as niceties. So in the report, they highlight a couple of categories of where they're finding these problems. And I got to say, they hit the nail right on the head there. When I look at 30 years of dealing with WSIB cases, both at the WSIB and at the tribunal, and I was reading through this report and I'm looking at what they're highlighting, I'm going, yeah, I see that because I've seen it. We've handled cases like that. It's there. And you can talk to any paralegal or lawyer or anybody who's been in the business or an advocate for injured workers. You can talk to them, and if they've been around long enough to have dealt with them over 30 years in these major legislative changes, they would be going through it and they'd be going, yeah, I can see that. That happens all the time. So they've really pointed these things out in a clear and concise manner. But even though it was introduced at Queen's Park, was there anything done? Well, we'll explore that in my last video here on this matter. But I'm just going to highlight some of them as they have it in the report. So the one category is inadequate services. So basically, WSIB takes months to approve services when patients need them immediately. Treating physicians' referrals for psychological therapy are often denied, even in dire situations. The WSIB will refer an injury claimant to a specialist, but will not fund sufficient time for a proper assessment and report. The WSIB also demands frequent progress reports that it will not pay for, and the recommendations of which are frequently ignored. The treatment allowed is often too narrow, such as not covering activities related to brain injury rehabilitation or occupational therapy. In cases where the WSIB does provide funding for psychological treatment, for example, the sessions are often cut off before the treating psychologist determines that healing is complete. Some healthcare professionals report that when they ask why funding for services has been discontinued, they are simply told that the board is not required to provide explanations to care providers. If the psychologist feels that their patient is still struggling at the time that care is cut off, they're forced to either abandon the patient in need or provide services for free. And the WSIB knows this. They're used to passing the buck and pushing the financial commitment to other organizations. They're very comfortable with that. And then the last one here is Physiotherapists report that when ongoing treatments, they call maintenance treatments, are denied, injured workers' conditions can degrade. This often leads to increased use of pain medication, loss of function, or self-medicating with drugs and alcohol, all of which comes with significantly more side effects than proper physical treatment. But these assholes, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit if you know, a young person who has a back injury and really needs treatment, and they deny the treatment, and that person goes out and gets hooked on perks or gets hooked on something even worse than that because of their injury, because they're denied treatment by these assholes. They don't give a shit about that. It's pathetic. And I've seen a lot of this. I've seen a lot of lives destroyed. Clients of ours where their families were broken up because WSIB denied treatment and denied benefits. I've seen this happen all too often. And every time I talk about it, as I'm sure you can see right now, I get some really pissed off. So the second category is that they talk about is ignoring the opinions of treating medical professionals when those opinions are not what the WSIB wants to hear. And this happens all the time, folks, all the time. The WSIB refers injured workers to medical professionals for assessment and then fails to follow the professional's recommendations. Despite medical opinions to the contrary, the WSIB often attributes illness or injury to pre-existing conditions and refuses to fund benefits or care. The WSIB will often seek second opinions from so-called paper doctors. These are their bought and paid for doctors who simply review the file without ever meeting the patient. Dr. Brenda Steinegal has alleged that the WSIB inappropriately pressures these doctors to deliver dishonest reports so that they can avoid paying benefits. The WSIB pressures workers to return to work even when their treating doctors recommend more time to heal. Injured workers' well-meaning attempts to return to work are being used against them as evidence that they are employable and healed, even when these attempts fail, resulting in loss of benefits. And then this is where the WSIB starts their whole deeming practice. And I have a whole video that I've done on that and some more coming. And then the WSIB actively tries to discredit the opinions of treating healthcare professionals when those opinions are likely to lead to increased benefit costs. Holy shit. Yes, so all of it happens, and it's continuing to happen. It happens to this day. Just as recently as last week and the week before and the week before that, I've had members of my company, WSIBsettlements.com, who were confronted with this. So not much has changed, but I'm going to save the bulk of that and my thoughts on that to my last video. So my friends, in going through all of this, it probably brought up some memories of you having gone through some of this crap within your own case, and I apologize for that. And for those of you who haven't really confronted any significant issues with the WSIB, my advice to you is make sure that you're covered, you're protected, and you have somebody who is an expert who understands the laws to guide you through the process, because it will happen. Believe me, it will happen. And you will need it. Well, friends, I think I've given you a lot to talk about. Along with this report being released in November of 2015, there was also a complaint, a formal complaint, submitted by the Ontario Network of Injured Workers Groups and the Ontario Federation of Label. They did an amazing job with this report. Two amazing organizations. I have nothing but great things to say about them. I've been aware of them for years, and they do really good work. That formal complaint was also made to the Ombudsman's office, and I'm going to talk about that as well throughout these few episodes on this particular matter. So, can WSIAT tame the WSIB beast? I believe it can. And the reason why I made this part of my new segment focus on WSIAT is I do believe that they're the only ones who can tame this beast. I don't think politicians have tried, and they've come and gone, and the beast has gotten much bigger. I don't think that the culture within the beast has changed significantly to all of a sudden, and this is based on recent events with billions of dollars having been given back to employers when injured workers really, really desperately need those funds. So that culture hasn't changed, and so they're not going to fix it. But I do believe there's a fix. I'm committed to doing that. Those of you who have watched my channel are aware of my mission to do that. It's a big and lofty goal, but I've never been one to shy away from a challenge. That's why my paralegal firm was the largest in Ontario, with over 10,000 clients and over $300 million in settlements, both arrears and future benefits. So yes, it is a lofty goal, but I believe it can be done. But we can't leave it to the politicians alone, and we absolutely cannot leave it to the WSIB. And I do believe that the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal can be a pretty significant ally in making that happen. And I believe that the Ontario Federation of Labour, as well as the Ontario Network of Injured Workers Groups, by submitting certain WSIAT decisions in support of their report to demonstrate what was actually happening by providing a view from WSIAT, that makes me feel very comfortable that in time, with the right people involved, pushing in the same direction, that we can make that happen. All right, friends. So the next episode that I'm going to talk about, which is next Wednesday, I'm going to talk about solutions identified by these organizations in that whistleblower report. They do have some very, I think, very appropriate solutions that really, if the WSIB were interested, wouldn't take a whole lot of retooling to make that happen. But again, we'll see if there's been any changes. Friends, once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I want to thank my subscribers for supporting my channel, for sharing my videos with others. You are helping people. I want you to know that. I'm seeing the results of that by individuals who are reaching out to me and who are becoming members of my firm, WSIBsettlements.com, and what's happening now with their claims. So that's thanks to you. I really appreciate that. And for me to achieve this lofty goal of really gaining power for injured workers so that we can make change that needs to happen. I want to grow this channel. I want to be able to touch every injured worker in this province. I want to be able to make them aware of what we're doing and letting them know that we can help. YouTube is the biggest blowhorn that I was able to find. And I think that with your help in continuing to share my videos, I believe that we can make that happen. And for those of you who are watching for the first time, thank you for watching. And I invite you to become a subscriber. It's free. Nobody's going to be looking for money. All you need to do is click the subscribe button and click the notification button so that you get notified every time I come out with a new video. And I've got over 30 years of experience to put into these videos that I'm going to continue to do. And I also invite you to share my videos with others. That would really help out growing this channel. All right, friends. So once again, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. As always, take care.